Hello and welcome back to the WitchFire Which is Better series. And today we're doing our final one, and that is the demonic weapons. So this is going to be a little bit of a shorter video because they don't have Mysteria, they don't change, you just unlock them and they come as is. You're running these bad boys stock. So to start off, we're going to talk about the first demonic weapon that was introduced to the game. I believe it came out with the early access, and that's the Vulture. The Vulture is a crossbow, and its bolt will hit an enemy and actively search out another enemy. To read the little tooltip at the top, or not a tooltip, but the lore, when a small group of witches decided to betray their kind and cooperate with the church for untold rewards, this was one of the first weapons that the workshop had created. Efforts were made to make it work in the hands of mortals, yet all attempts ended in vain. This has established prayers as the workshop's primary patrons. So, pretty much the demonic weapons are kind of an oh shit button of the game, right? You don't have enough ammo to really handle much, but if you're in a bad situation, you got enemies everywhere, you can pull one of these out and clear out a lot of them, or at least do a shitload of damage to them. So as you can see, the damage is extremely high on this, hitting for 200 at base. I believe you can hit harder if you get a headshot. It's pretty damn accurate. The drop is not that bad. You can have 5 bolts in the mag at a time, and max ammo for this thing is 15. So, I believe the bolts maximum can hit up to 5 enemies, which is a pretty good clear considering you have 5 bolts. I mean, that's 20 enemies if you just unload. It can do respectable damage to a boss, but once again, you just don't have enough ammo to really do much. So, all in all, I'd have to say that this is a very, very strong option, and honestly, it's still probably the best option. I mean, as far as oh shit buttons go, you don't have to have the enemies grouped up for this one because the bolt kind of has a long range that it can cycle through enemies, and the damage is high enough to one-shot smalls and do a massive chunk to elites. Now if we look at the falling star, this is a grenade launcher, and yes, it does do more damage, but it's a little harder to use, being that it's supposed to be like an area of effect type weapon, but you have to group the enemies up to get the most out of this. I do find that using something like Iron Cross is great because it kind of sucks all the enemies into that little circle, and it can do pretty insane damage, but it does lose points based off of if you don't have a good way to gather up the enemies, you're just not going to be using it to its full potential. Now, the damage is super high. Stun power is pretty decent. I believe this thing also can get up to 15 shots. I could be wrong. I'd have to look again. Now, the little text at the top reads, "A relic from the old days, when the workshop used stronger but unstable ammunition. A double-edged sword, menacing to both the undead and the prayer alike." So, as it suggests, you can kill yourself with this thing, so don't go shooting it at your feet. Now, as far as the no shit button goes, I don't really find this one to be any better than the crossbow. In fact, I typically use the crossbow instead. Just that ease of, you shoot it and it will kill enemies regardless of how close they are together. Now, that's not to say this is a bad weapon at all. If you want to absolutely delete, like an elite, or do massive amounts of damage to a boss, this thing will do just that. So, they kind of have different uses, a little bit. Now, the Whisper, I was very disappointed with this, until I started using it, preparing for this video and testing it out. As you can see, it deals no damage. All it does is stun things. But when what is the word? When used in tandem with certain things, this becomes insane. It's no longer the oh shit button, it's now like a setup for a combo. And I think it's a ton of fun to use, and I do recommend, if you're using something like the Striga and you're struggling, pull out the Whisper and Iron Cross. I mean, if you want to see your computer start chugging and just watch explosions, throw on Whisper, Iron Cross, Striga, and then the Blood of a Banshee. It's just stupid. And so, as far as like, you can't really compare this one to the other two because it doesn't do the same shit at all. The other two are like AoE clear, big damage. This one is no damage at all. It just stuns shit. Now, alternatively, this is the part where it knocks it down quite a few pegs for me. You can get the same shit out of using Shockwave. Whenever Shockwave stuns enemies, you don't need the Whisper anymore. It's such a strange... I don't understand why they turned that spell into a gun, essentially. So it kind of it loses some points for that, but being that the Whisper is now here, I'd never have to use Shockwave, and instead I can use something cool like Fireballs with Iron Cross and, you know, other stuff. I guess it's nice to have the option open to free up that light spell. So, all in all, I would still have to say that the Vulture is the better of the three. To each his own. If you love the Falling Star and hate the Vulture, awesome. Let me know. I'd like to know. So, with all of that being said, have yourself a very fine day.